everyone, Tori the Crafty Girl here, and I have a brand new project designed for the circular knitting machine. So this idea came to me a couple of days ago when I was sitting down here in my basement and I was really cold, my neck was cold, and I was like, you know what would be really awesome? To have an easy to put on vest with a collar that could add a little pop of color. So that is how this idea was born. And I wanted this to be beginner friendly and user friendly so that I could share it with all of you. So what I worked up for the design was essentially at the most basic level, 3 pieces. Okay, there's a lot of ways you can customize this project, which we can get into, but essentially you're going to have a collar and you're going to have 2 tubes that you're going to graft together, and that's going to be the vest. We're going to leave it open on the side so that you can put it on over a long sleeve shirt or over a sweater. And then we'll have little ties on the sides to give it a little shape so that we can, make it a little bit tighter, possibly. So these are optional. We'll see. I haven't made this all the way yet, so we'll see how it turns out. Usually when I do these type of tutorials that I haven't finished when I start the video, they tend to turn out a little bit differently than the idea that I had in my head. And that is awesome because it shows you that there are many ways that you can customize this. I also have this vision that I would have a little strap connecting the front and the back of the vest so that, your arm, this is your armhole here. The little strap goes under here and then the ties are here. That's my idea, but again, we'll see how that works out. So for this project, again, to make this warm and user-friendly, we are going to be using tubes, and I am going to be using the Addi 46. Now, again, however you want to customize this, if you have a different size machine, you could use that as well. But essentially, I found that if I have 2 tubes that are grafted together, that will be a perfect width, front and back for this vest. So that is where this idea is coming from. Now, the other great thing about this particular design is that it is super customizable for all sizes. That is such an amazing thing. It doesn't happen very often because, a lot of times when you're doing a design for a sweater or for a top, they're very specific to certain shapes and sizes. This you can customize very easily. You don't have to do a lot of extra work. You're just taking measurements as you go. So essentially what I did was I took my measurement I took a scarf that I had already made with the circular knitting machine, wrapped it around my neck, and decided what looked the best to me. What was the best drape? And so with that, I got 21 inches. Then for the actual length of the vest, I took my measuring tape and I measured from my hip, and then I went all the way around back to the hip, and I got 35 inches. That was the original plan. I will tell you this did not happen because the yarn that I bought did not have enough yarn for me to go with that length, and I'm actually really glad because it's a little bit more cropped, and I think that for me, it's going to work a little bit better. So again, happy accidents always happen. So those are really the only measurements, and you're just going to create 2 tubes and this. So let me just show you what we have so far and then how we're going to put it all together. And if you're curious about the yarn that I used for this, this beautiful kind of 70s vibe going on right here, this is Big Twist Living yarn, and I think the color is Spirit. So if you're looking for this, it's just, it's their value yarn, and it is anti-pilling. I can't really wear wool. I have some sensitivities to certain fabrics, and so wool to me is one of those that it itches like crazy, irritates me. So I'm always looking for acrylics that I can use, and anti-pilling acrylic is fabulous. So what we need, like I said, is we need our 2 tubes. Okay, so here we have our 2 tubes. We are going to use waste yarn for this project. And the reason we're using waste yarn is because we want to have a really pretty finish at the bottom like this. And I ended up doing a single crochet finish on the bottom instead of a slip stitch, and that was intentional. That way I could have this really pretty bottom here. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to add any additional ribbing or additional rows. It just depends on what it looks like once, you know, the rest of it's put together. That's kind of how I decide that. So we have our 2 tubes here, and then we need our additional piece for the neckline. So I created 3 different samples for the collar because I wasn't quite sure which one I was feeling, and it was just easier to make 3 different samples. So the first sample that I made, I used white because I was like, you know what, white could go really well with this. Even though this is cream, the white brings out the color. So I worked this up. Now this type of collar, what I ended up doing was a tube, again, to make this as user-friendly as possible. I just created a tube. And then the plan was to just stitch it together, okay, graft it together here at the back, and then you're going to stitch it to the garment like this. That's going to give us this nice drape here. And I think for this one I did 80 rows. So 80 rows gave me this right type of collar. We would have to graft this on here at the bottom to the piece, but totally doable. This was just the first idea that I had. I slept on this after I looked at it last night and realized I don't like the white with this. I think that it just doesn't quite work. So this, we're saving this for another project. If you have any thoughts or ideas on what I should use this for, let me know in the comments. So then the second one that I whipped up, and when I say whipped up, I mean labored over, is this one right here. So I ended up using super chunky wool yarn, and as I already mentioned, I can't really wear wool. So, you know, I didn't know maybe if I worked it up, it would be different. But anyway, so I used super chunky wool on the knitting machine. I almost broke my machine with this. So let me tell you, you can do it. You can do it, but this yarn right here definitely took a lot of time, even though it was a small piece. So there's this one here that we could also use. Again, all we'd have to do, I've already finished the ends. We would graft that together and then stitch that on to the piece as well. And I really like having this super chunky knit with this. So, you know, that's an idea, but I decided because of the wool, I can't use this. So the last sample that I made was definitely more up my alley. This color orange is one of my favorite colors. I have a beanie that I made that I pretty much wear out. I wear it all the time. And so this is the color. In fact, this is all I have left of this yarn. I didn't know if I was going to have enough to make this, and I'm so glad I did. So I still have enough that I could do those side panels, which I'm still considering. We'll see. So here's what I ended up doing. Again, I just did a tube, but this time I just did the tube and I folded it in half. So it has enough stretch that I can put it over my head and then it fits just fine. The only thing I don't really like is that, you know, when you fold it over, it's a little bulky, but actually that'll keep me warm. So this is the option, the third option, but this is the option that I have decided to go with. And again, all we do is we're gonna stitch this to the garment, and I'll show you in a little bit more detail what that's gonna look like. So those are the pieces that I have so far. Again, once we graft this together in the front and the back and then add our collar, then we can decide if we even need those side tabs. So that's it. Let me show you on the mannequin the idea, and then we will start grafting this together. Here are pieces on the mannequin. This is the easiest way for me to work because I can lay it out, make sure it fits how I want it to on the mannequin. That way it'll translate perfectly to my specific body type, but you could also just lay this out on the ground and then just measure where you want your collar to come to in the front and in the back. So this is what the side is going to look like. See, again, it is going to be a little bit cropped here. And then here's where we could, if I decide to add bows, I can add that here. And then also I still haven't decided, I think I may still add the little tabs to go under the arm here. That way it'll just keep it together a little bit more. We will see. But the way that I have this laid out to get ready for grafting is I put it all together, put the collar on, and then we're going to graft up to this point here. And then you'll see underneath Okay, this is how it is. So these are your tubes. I'm not even showing you because I'm not turning. There we go. So these are essentially 2 tubes, and then this is our 3rd tube. And then we're just going to be stitching this collar on all the way around. And then on the back, we have the same thing where we have it pinned in place, ready to go so that we can just graft all the way down. Now, big piece of, a big tip. Okay, a big tip for you. When you are grafting your pieces together, number one, I absolutely 100% say start at the bottom. Do not start up here. And the reason for that is if you start grafting your piece together up here and you don't adjust for stretch or you miss a stitch or something like that, when you get down here, you may not have an even bottom. So if we start down here and make sure that at least this is lined up, you can kind of, you know, adjust as you go once you get up to this point. So definitely start at the bottom. What I'm probably going to do is graft up to this point here. Then once I do that, I will pick a direction, probably this direction, graft around the neck, and then, nope, go all the way around the neck. Again, because I want to start from the bottom up. Go all the way back around to here and then finish and tie off. Then we'll come back and do the front section separately, again, starting at the bottom, grafting up to here. And because this is double knit, it's going to make hiding any of those tails that you have so easy. And then after we do that, we can try it on and see our next steps to customize this. So we're making progress, and I love this collar. This collar makes me so happy. I mean, this whole thing, it's definitely that, you know, retro vintage 70s vibe. I'm totally digging it. Okay, it's the next day, and here's said beanie that I mentioned that I wear every single day almost. So we are going to do the mattress stitch. Now let me show you. Here is the back. It's already done. So I did the mattress stitch from the bottom to the top, and I stopped about here. I have not attached the collar yet. I tied it on, but I haven't attached it because I want to do the front first and then just make sure that I have you know, the collar situated so that it'll fit correctly. So I've gone all the way up, and I have identified where I want this to stop. So now we are going to tighten this all together. Again, this point on. Now always double check. So I've made the mistake of not tightening it enough and finding spaces in my work. So you should find that you don't have any spaces here and that it's a nice, really flat, clean finish. And then we're going to pull this all the way through. And then what I typically end up doing, if I was going to use this yarn tail to attach the collar, which I suppose I could, let me see. But then I would end up back here, and I don't want to have any knots or anything here in the front if I can help it. So I am going to use the yarn tail from the collar, which is in the back, and I'll do that after this. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to tighten again all the way up here, and then we're going to tie it off. And I'm just going to tie it off with a single overhand knot. And I do like to do those overhand knots on the inside, just again, so that we don't have bulk and so that it's not showing. And now I just tied that off, and then we'll be able to hide this yarn tail. So for now, I'll just pull it down below, and I'll hide all these at the end. All right. Now, if we weren't going to add a collar, let's say you just wanted to create a vest, or, you know, a t-shirt, you could use this exact same method. But then for like a t-shirt, like maybe a sleeveless vest or anything like that, instead of putting on a collar, what you would do is you could stitch the sides together if you made it bigger. So there's just many different projects you can do with this same process. So I have this long yarn tail, and now we're ready to attach our collar. And I am going to do a mattress stitch. So again, lots of different ways that you can do this process here, but just like here, what I'm going to do is I did a crochet finish, a single crochet finish here, which I love to do because it gives you really nice clean lines, and it also gives you these nice crochet stitches, which allow you to pick up the single loops here and then a single loop here at the collar as well. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to do that mattress stitch all the way back around, tie it off again here, and then I'll hide those yarn tails, and then we'll come back together. I'll try it on. I'll show you what it looks like on, and then we'll decide if what we need to add. If we need to add ties, if we need to add side tabs, or if we need to add both. And here we are. This is the progress. So I love it. I love it. And again, so many ways you can customize this. So you'll see, I still have to figure out, I think that I am going to do ties. I may not do the tab underneath because it's cropped. I don't think I need it. I think that once I put these ties on down here, it'll keep it in place and that should be fine. But again, for warmth, if I want it to be a little bit warmer, I could add those tabs there. I still haven't decided. I don't know. I'm looking at it. I also flipped it around. So as I stitched up the sides, I looked at both of them on. And this side, I just like the way that this lines up for me. And I like having the purple at the bottom. And this side still looks good, right? There's nothing wrong with it. It just isn't quite what I'm looking for. Okay. Now I have to do brain work. So this is where you get to that part in your project and you're like, okay, what's next? And again, I'm not trying to overcomplicate this, but there's so many cool things you can do with this project. Imagine if it was longer as well. So you could make this really long and then put straps around the sides. And it could look really cute, like over, I'm just imagining a bra top and a skinny skirt would be super fun. So there's just so many ways that you could absolutely wear this and style it and design it and all those things. So, okay, I need to go get some water because I am dehydrated. I haven't had any water. And while I'm doing so, I will figure out how I'm going to finish the vest. Okay, if you're watching the video and you are right here, I want you to put down in the comments, how would you finish this? Because I love how all of you are so creative and you have your own ways of doing things. How would you finish this? What would be your ideal way? Would you do tabs? Would you do ties? Would you do a crochet ribbing at the bottom? Buttons? You tell me. And then I'll check the comments and I'm excited to see what you have to say. Okay, you know those days when you just have so many ideas? I have so many ideas that I'm like, my brain is kind of like getting stuck. So I did a panel sample, and this panel sample is 10 pins. So I did 10 pins with 20 rows, and that seems to be perfect. So that could go, maybe you want to see this. So what I'm thinking is here. Originally I had it here, but then I think because just to make sure that it'll fit the bust, this is where I would put it. But before I do that, I have another idea. Of course, because I do still want to have ties on the side. Once I put it on, it's a little loose. So I have this yarn that's actually pre-made I-cord, essentially. It's pre-made, like really thick I-cord, and the color fits perfectly. Now it's not orange. I don't have enough orange, I don't think, to make a long enough cord to go around and be a tie. So I'm trying to be really conservative with my orange. But I have this right here, and what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is across the front, I'm gonna stitch this. So we'll just, because it's already it's already made, I'm just gonna stitch it to the bottom as a, decorative piece, and do that on both sides. So then we'll have these really long ties at the side, and then we can tie them together, okay? But how I'm gonna tie it all together, because it actually would be fine if this was like orange and then this was the cream color, but I might end up doing something like, again, my brain is like, there's so many ideas today. I may end up doing just like a little heart. That might be too much. Is it too much? It might be too much. Anyway, so I'm going to start with this. I'm going to do 2 strips here. I'm going to stitch them to the bottom, and then we'll try it on and see if I even need those panels. But the other idea that I had is I was like, if I had enough orange, I would probably make twisted fringe to go all the way around, and then just do like a single crochet, like a chain, right? Like a chain tie together. I don't know. There's just so many ways to customize this that I'm just getting to that point where there's too many ways. There's too many ways. So anyway, I'm gonna do another of these, stitch these on, and then we're gonna call it a day. It's snowing again outside, so I think I'm gonna go like build a snowman. Okay. Okay, are you ready for it? Here she is. I'm so excited. So I ended up just using that pre-made I-cord, and I did go with bows, which that was kind of my original plan. Where's my pattern? So in the original pattern, you know, I did have bows here, but I also had those tabs, and I think if I would have made this longer, the tabs would be necessary. But because of the length of this on my body, I don't need them. But if I did make it even just like another inch longer, I probably would add tabs there just to give it a little more shape. But I'm really happy with this project, and I think that this is one of those that I'll make quite a few in different colors for myself. And if you make it, don't forget to tag me. Let me know. I would love to see how you customize this. And because there's just so many ideas and so many different ways. I'm just like in my head, I'm thinking fringe, I'm thinking, you know, buttons, so many different things that you can do. So let me know what you think in the comments, and if you like content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. I have a ton of different tutorials on project designs, one-of-a-kinds, and lots of tips and tricks available. Also, I set the dates for our live demo and Q&A sessions for knitting machines for the month of December. So if you subscribe and turn on your notifications, you'll get reminded. Or you can just head over to and click the notify me button, and you'll be able to get that notification too. So thank you so much. As always, I appreciate every one of you. We are on our way. We're so close to 25K. That is our goal for the end of the year, and we are this close. So if you're not already subscribed, please consider supporting the channel, because we would love to have you as part of our Girl Gang community. And thank you so much. Until next time, everybody, see ya!